Alright, welcome back. It's my first run through map 8 in Alliance Quest. Here we're taking Path 5 as well as the first Nimrod mini-boss. Again, we got a Flux Dispersal and right back at it and pull Captain Marvel movie to start. This is the community nodes in this section. So you're stuck where you need to do energy non-contact hits in order to do damage. You need to keep the flux dispersal down by doing heavies, and when you heavy, you also make the opponent immune for a few seconds. So great combination there of nodes. I think this was probably the more one of the more annoying ones that I had to deal with in this section. I'm not looking forward to doing these ones on some of the other days. But Black Widow Clairvoyant actually does pretty well here as a mystic against Captain Marvel movie. We'll be doing quite a bit of damage. But also sometimes I find the Flux Dispersal, even when I do throw a heavy attack, it doesn't always go away. There it did, but sometimes it doesn't, and when it doesn't go away, then at least on this node you're stuck again, either baiting out like another heavy or waiting for the immunity to disappear before you can go and attack again. So a little bit of a frustrating node. This particular fight wasn't that bad. Some of the other ones down the road on this in the second part of Path 5 were a little more annoying, but there goes Captain Marvel movie. Now we have the full path here. We've got no, not on the full path. There's a Hulkbuster that somebody else took with a Corvus who was backup, so that I didn't take the first one, so I can't benefit from the cross fight on this one, but that's fine. We got basically here. We need something that can nullify but not stagger. So I like this one here. Black Widow Clairvoyant works perfectly because she can nullify on her mediums. He's gonna go to like nullify immune, but and when I basically just play this node in the poison mode, drop special twos, and it's really it works out great. You just have to be careful. He's gonna get the nut when he gets the nullify immunity. But when you get to 2 bars of power, if you can't nullify, he gets like a power gain buff every time you get to 2 bars of power. So I just stuck with the special 2 so that I could keep up the buff immunity on him. Right, I guess the buff immunity doesn't really count as like a nullify immunity. I guess that's how it works there. But it works out great. Same thing here for Jubilee. I just go into the poison mode so that when I do throw that special 2, I can steal some of the power. Granted, I could go and use special 1s, but I just didn't want to risk potentially having them get a whole bunch of power, so I just stayed in the poison mode, and for me, this worked extremely well. Again, just bait some specials. And again, try and keep them just to special 1s for the most part. Again, throwing the special 2 in the poison phase helps steal some power, helps cycle those special 2s, keep the buff immunity on. There, bait Jubilee's heavy attack. Again, this is just my first attempt through Alliance Quest Map 8. From what I can tell, again, it just involves some coordinating amongst your team. There's specific paths with some cross fights that can help one champion benefit from that cross fight for the rest of the path. So you really want like one counter per path, but then you've got community nodes in between. So you need it's nice to have the backup guys come in, do some of those. But this was my first try. We did a whole slew of fights. So I think I was close to almost 40 fights over the entire map. So we're going to break this up into sections. So we already put out path 4 of section 1. You can find that video on the channel. And now this is path 5 in section 1. So Nova here, again, not too bad with Black Widow Clairvoyant. Continue to spam those special 2s. Works amazing on this path. Wait for Nova to throw that special. Let him throw it again. And he should be just about done here. So down goes Nova. Okay, next up we have an Odin. So Odin, this is another one of those. I'm in the same section as path 4, so it's more flux dispersal, right back at it and pull. We're just going to go class advantage with Claire. I did speed this one up a little bit, and again, unlike my Alliance War videos where I'm boosted for like every fight here, I'm not, at the moment, I'm not using any boosts. So far, this, at least for day 1, no boosts. I'm going to try and keep going without boosts, because I like to save them for Alliance War, not Alliance Quest. And at least they've been giving the compensation items are specific for Alliance Quest. So there's definitely some items that I can use here that I wasn't going to use. You know, instead of them expiring, I might as well use them here. So I think the big team potions are really helpful. I tried not to use too many items in map 8, but when trying, I think the final bosses for the first time, it took me a little while to get used to the rotation that I needed to do. So I wasted a few items there. We'll get there eventually. I've got lots of fights from this first day of map 8. I just think I don't want to put like a 1-hour video in. I think it's much easier to look section by section when going through and checking out map 8 videos than trying to find you know each individual one. So hopefully we've got separate videos for each path in each section. So there'll probably be like 6 videos out for this, and this is the second one we're working on. So it's not too bad. Did speed this fight up a little bit just because it's slow. Again, you have to keep knocking him down to get rid of the flux dispersal charges. You have to use energy attacks, like non-contact hits, I guess. So I think in the end, also I think I figured out that using special 3s is a good way to get a bunch of damage done on these nodes. So in the future, that's what I'm gonna try and do, because that was what was working for me by the time I figured it out. I was kind of doing like path 4 and path 5 at the same time, and now I've just kind of compiled all the path 5 fights together. But again, this one was a little slow, and that's why I'm not a fan of these flux dispersal fights. You can see there, I did the heavy attack. The charges are still there, so it's just really annoying. There, they finally disappear. We'll drop a special 3 and we'll end it. So it's definitely again, I've said it a few times, but not my favorite. Not my favorite node. Now maybe there are better counters that I'm just not aware of, but I'm stuck taking counters specifically for the path that I'm on. So here, this Luke Cage actually gives a boss killer cross fight. So if you take this fight, it's just a regular Luke Cage fight. So if you take this fight with a champion that you want to do the boss with, then you can go ahead. The cross fight only lasts for the next fight that you use the champion in. So you go ahead and because I wanted to use Hercules here for the Nimrod mini boss. So we're gonna go ahead, use Hercules here, build up a couple feats of strength, take down this Luke Cage, and then we'll have just a little bit of an extra boost for the Nimrod boss fight. So you don't have to do this, but I figured it might as well take advantage of anything that I can to help make the boss fights a little bit easier. And down goes Luke Cage, and now we're ready for the boss. We just have a few more fights before we get there. So, so I'm not going to use Hercules for this fight. I'm going to use Black Widow again. It's another flux dispersal, right back at it. Pull fight. These fights stink. I did speed this fight up again, and I think it. And again, at a certain point, I figured that I might as well go with special threes. And I don't know if it was late into these fights where I started doing that, but again, these fights are a little bit slow. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to speed them up. So again, yeah, it's just these nodes are not the greatest here. Definitely something to get used to if you're doing map 8 all the time and you have some good ideas for a counter specifically for these flux dispersal nodes. I did have one spot available. I threw a human torch on the team just as potential backup for the bosses, but maybe if someone has a good counter just for these flux dispersal nodes, let me know down in the comments, then I can try someone out probably, or I can test out some other champions for future future runs of map 8, because I think we're going to try and do it as best we can. There's no mods in map 8, so it's just getting used to the nodes, and once you're used to the nodes, it shouldn't be so bad. So again, this is just a slow one, but not the, at least we got through it. But I think once I started, once I started realizing I should just stick with special threes the entire time, I think it made it a lot faster. But at the time, I was just going pretty, pretty slow through these ones. Yeah, definitely way too long of a fight on this one. But I finally use a special 3, and there he goes. It finishes him off. So there that one goes. Now we have the same thing with this Yellowjacket. I decide to go in with Human Torch. Again, I didn't use the pre-fight here, but again, we sped this fight up quite a bit, and we can go in and at least we're doing some damage over time before we have to knock him down. But again, I just kind of build up to special 3s, and then I can get the Nova Flames on the special 3 and get some decent damage going. So I just try to go through that rotation here. And at the same time, though, I have to be careful of Yellowjacket's charges above him, that when he gets to like a little bit over 100, I guess he gets that, I don't know what I can't remember what it's called, but we'll call it like an overcharge or whatever. And you have to stay away from him, or else you're going to take a bunch of damage. So there, at least with the special 3, it does a nice chunk of damage there. We can get some Nova Flames doing some damage on him. So not a little bit better way to actually do some damage on these nodes. Just keep evading his special 1s, build up to another special 3, get some decent damage going. Again, try and get some Nova Flame damage in on there. I know I was noticing at this point he was up to like 95 of his charges, so I had to be a little careful that once he goes, once it gets, that overcharge. So I was a little careful here. See when he was actually gonna go, when it was actually gonna trigger. They were triggers. I'm gonna back off. Let that, see, getting too close to him takes a chunk of damage. Wait for that yellow bar to disappear, and that's fine. And now we can go back, get into the same cycle of special 3s, and we'll get this Yellowjacket down. But I think I definitely need a better counter for these flux dispersal nodes moving forward. That's for sure. So again, if you have any ideas or if you've been doing this one, definitely leave a comment. This is only my first time trying it, so I'm not even waiting till I got really good at it to post it. This is my first try, and this is my first experience in it. So it's we'll see how it continues. All right, so down goes Yellowjacket, and then last fight of section 1, we've got Hercules with the cross fight against Nimrod. Just personal space, bubble shield, shouldn't be too bad. Just gonna parry heavy this guy into the ground. Again, I'm not perfect at evading his special ones, but we're obviously the special 2 is easier, but then he can get the unstoppable. So there we actually got a nice clean dex on that first one. Drop a nice, well, I think we're going to drop a nice special 3 on him in a second. Again, just got to be careful with his bubble shield. The way I like to do bubble shield is if I realize I'm getting close, just parry a couple. Try and get him to the 9th charge when he still is below 1 bar of power, and then you can just dash out and attack for the 10th one. And then you can just go back into parrying and just not too bad. So here we're already at 7. That was an 8th charge. So now let him use his special 2 here. Okay, so that was 9. There's 10. We'll get that heavy attack off. And now I just want to bait 1. I don't want to push him to a bar of power. I want to bait till I see that unblockable on the right. There it is. And now I'm good to go, except I anticipated a special. I threw it too early, but that's fine. There, another clean evade on his special one, which is rare. I think in the second mini boss, I get clipped a lot more by his special one. There you can see I get hit a little bit there. Like 2 dexes, but then I get clipped. Always got to be careful that he can like power lock you when you go to a bar of power, so that you can't really combo immediately right into the special that you want. So you got to wait a second. There we get a nice special 2, and that should be just about it for Nimrod. So I hope this helps you guys in Path 5 in Map 8, and we'll see you in the next one.